I run the marketing department here at Art Store Friends. And it looks like aside from Bunny, we have a bunch of new faces. You probably have not joined one of these sessions before, or maybe you've seen one or seen one on Facebook or something. And what we normally do is go over um, sort of a high level demo of who we are, what we do, kind of a thing, and then get into a little rant from me, which will probably be light one today, and then get directly into your Q&A. And I think the Q&A can focus on any questions you might have about us or what we do or pricing or printing or marketing or how things work. All those types of questions are totally awesome. Or if you're so inclined, what about you? Where is your business? What are you struggling with? What's working? What are you trying to do in 2021? How did your 2020 go? Did you just have a huge Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Q4? I certainly hope you did. Um, Walter, I can see is in the chat asking, can we record this? It's streaming live to Walter to YouTube and to Facebook, and so you don't even have to record it. As soon as it's done, takes a few minutes, but the recording will be ready to go there, and we send it to you after the fact. So one less thing that you have to do. Um, just recently we completely updated our homepage, and I'm going to show that briefly here. Let me pull it up. Not here, but here. And this is just blog.artstorefronts.com. It's pretty easy to find. But what you'll find on this page is sort of our newest articulation of who we are, what we do. And there's a bunch of videos here with me explaining the various different things, how the page works. I talk a little bit about the website, the back end software, the fulfillment, and everything else. And it does a really good job of sort of articulating in depth what all we do. I'm going to give you sort of a quick version of it now. And if you're so inclined, you can go back and look at this. We'll send it to you and kind of just peruse it sort of at your own speed. But, you know, everybody thinks that we're just a website, or oftentimes people think that we are, some sort of a marketplace, if you will. And nothing could be further from the truth. Um, we essentially realized a couple of years ago as a business, and I'll stop the screen share for a second, that if we want to be successful, art storefronts, we have to create all the circumstances possible such that we create the ecosystem for artists and photographers to be successful. If we don't have successful customers, our business is not growing, it doesn't go anywhere. So it's kind of cool in the sense that it takes our oar, your oar, and puts us both in the same boat, rowing in the same direction. The better our customers do, the better we do as a business. And so it's so much more than just a website. And it has to be so much more than just a website, because a website, 499 out of 100 people that are on this call, is just not enough. It's not enough, meaning you cannot just instantaneously move your art, your photography from one website to another and boom, fish start jumping in the boat, boom, you have a successful business. Not the way that it works. You have to have quite a bit more than a website. So I'll go back on the screen share and kind of talk about the various different things at a high level. It certainly starts with a website, right? And we believe that we have the most advanced art selling website on the planet. I don't think that's hyperbole. We don't really have any other big competitors that just set up websites for selling art and photography online. And as it pertains to the website, selling art and photography online, and I'll pull up a site here, it's not like selling other products in e-commerce, right? There is just a tremendous amount of nuance in the art and photography buying process, and there's a tremendous amount of friction, okay? And what do I mean by friction? There's a million little things that prevent somebody from actually making the purchase, in sharp contrast to, having an e-commerce experience where you buy a lady's handbag or swim fins or golf clubs or an electric scooter or the like. So all our sites really do at the end of the day is attempt to remove as much of this friction as possible, such that you're going to get more visitors turn into buyers. And our websites literally have hundreds and hundreds of features that assist in doing this. It's sort of why we run the demo process. If you've seen on our site, what happens when you request a demo? Someone from our outreach team reaches out. They ask you some questions. You can ask whatever questions you want of them, and then they schedule the demo, which goes like an hour, and it's a screen share on all the bells and whistles. But I can cover some of it high level. Like, there's just it's such a visual process buying art and photography, right? Like you're not selling a 2D image, you're selling what ends up on the wall. So we have features like various different media types. You mouse over and you select one, and now we're looking at a gallery wrap canvas. If we switch to metal, we're looking at what a metal print looks like, and it seems subtle, and it is, but it's sometimes these little things that get the job done. We include videos on what each of the media types look like so that your customers can educate themselves on the subtle differences between a metal print and an acrylic print and a canvas print. Is it ready to hang? What are the high level stuff about it? We understand that buying art is an incredibly visual process. So we've got tools like the wall preview. You can select what type of room you want to see the particular piece in, and you can select the size, right? And not only can you do that, you can change the colors of the wall. And all the paint colors in here are the best-selling paints from Benjamin Moore and Sherman-Williams. So that's a feature that a ton of people talk about. And yes, you can change these background images to whatever you like. We just have some generic ones in there because we like to keep things simple. So we have the wall preview tool. Another feature that we ended up getting, a ton of interest in is what's called live preview with augmented reality. This one's pretty cool. Again, we invented this to solve for the visual aspects and the friction in buying it. And so in the background is a website. On the right is an actual cell phone. And what this feature allows someone to do is come to your website with their cell phone. They don't have to download any apps, no software, and they're able to use the camera on their phone and the real room they're sitting in. And then your piece is put into this environment through augmented reality. And so you can size a piece up and size a piece down. What is the exact right size for my space? And it's all to scale. Is it going to mesh with my furniture? I can take a screenshot. I can send it to significant others. So we've got that feature and just a myriad of other ones. There's so many different ones, and I've been doing digital marketing and e-commerce my entire life, and everyone you know tends to get hung up on, ooh, it's got this amazing feature, and it's always like, ooh, it does this one thing or it does that one thing. None of it matters. It's not any one feature ever. It's all of them working in conjunction that raises your conversion rate from where it is on a pretty portfolio site or a WordPress blog or Squarespace or any of the rest of them. Just that slight percentage, right? Like every single solitary thing on there is just trying to remove the friction and increase the conversion rate. So that's on the website features. And again, we can get into more of them if you like later. We literally have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. Let's keep going. Back-end software. No one likes to talk about this one. It's not super sexy. I get that. But we have a whole slew of back-end features and things that are necessary to run, the art and photography business, and takes into account some of the nuances. How do you handle images and resizing, quickly adding product types and quickly sorting markups, and all of the things that are unique to the art business and the photography business that set it apart and make it different than the other ones out there. We have a slew of features in the back end that take care of that and essentially just give you back a bunch of your time, so you're not wasting it on inefficient processes. Our fulfillment is pretty awesome. You can, first of all, you can do whatever you want with this, right? And I'll use his site as an example. If you're just an artist selling originals, then of course you can take orders with our software, and then obviously you would ship and fulfill the order yourself because it's an original. If you have a printer that you really like, someone local you've been using for years, you can do what's called self-fulfillment. Orders will come in on the site, you send them to your printer will print and ship it. But we also have what's called self-fulfillment, which is really what we recommend. And we're partnered with Bay Photo on the West Coast, Graphic Dimensions on the East Coast, excuse me. And then also we're integrated with a merchandise partner, a merch partner called Guten, print partners if you're in Canada. But the way that it works is an order will take place on your site. Instantaneously you get paid, instantaneously the print shop gets paid, the order automatically goes to the printer prints it, boxes it up, slaps your logo on the side of the box and ships it. You don't have to touch anything. And we really recommend everyone goes with that because it's just so much faster and more efficient. You're not wasting any time whatsoever worried about fulfillment or stressing about fulfillment. And it takes 1 second to turn on. You can pick whichever vendors you like. They have every media type, every ink type. all the same printers. And so it's a like for like product, whether you like Bayfoot or whether you like Graphic Dimensions. Merchandise is sort of the newest thing that we've added. And again, we've integrated with this company called Guten. The product is actually in beta, but it allows you to sell things like hooded sweatshirts and phone cases and tank tops, yes, and throw pillows and tote bags and mugs and all these various different things. Um, we're also adding puzzles and calendars, and in the calendars you can curate what images that you want to be in the calendar, or they can pick themselves. You can do it that way. We also just added greeting cards, so in his case, you can have greeting cards as well, send little messages, have your logo on the back of it. We sort of realize that, like, going back to our original premise again, is our job is to create a set of circumstances that make it as easy as possible for an artist or photographer to build a successful business. And so we want you to be able to have a range of different product types that you can sell. You can sell all of them, none of them, some of them. You can have them grouped in product groupings, sort of like Bill does here on his site, where you can all on the same page. You can order a T-shirt, you can order a mug, you can order a canvas print, you can order a wood. You can even order the original or limited editions if he has it set up this way. Or you could just have a separate merch section on your site and just sell mugs or just sell tote bags or pillows or the puzzles or the iPhone cases or whatever else. You have every option available to you, and it's just completely up to you how you'd like to go with it. Um, Yes, we have best in class support. Yes, it's amazing. Yes, it's email, phone, and chat, which is incredible, but it's even better than that in the sense that we run Zoom sessions 6 days a week for either technical support or for marketing support. And so if you're having a problem with your website, you need to get something figured out, you want to just jump right into a Zoom call. There's 6 of those a week, including Saturdays. You can jump right in, talk to a real person, do a screen share. They can take over control of your computer if needs be, and we get the problem solved quickly. So I'm really proud of what our support does. But ultimately, yes, the website is great. Yes, we have a bunch of features that are going to give you your time back. Yes, our support is amazing. That's all well and good, but really, your biggest problem, every single solitary person in this Zoom's biggest problem, is you have a marketing problem. We have people that are selling over well into 6 figures a year. Let's just say they all have marketing problems. It's just how it goes in this business. Especially in today's day and age, in which offline revenue sources have been crushed. Galleries are closing one after another. The fairs and shows doesn't look to be coming back anytime soon. You need to be able to sell direct. That goes down on your own website. And in order to do that, you need attention, you need eyeballs. That means marketing. And really, what we have, the easiest way to think about it is we've essentially started what's called an art business university. It's the easiest way to think of it. It's the way that we think of it. And you sign up with us. You essentially pay a tuition fee to get into this art business university, and the learning never ends. It never, ever ends. We teach you week in, week out, all year long, year after year, how to market and grow in art business in today's day and age. How do we know that? One, we're very good at digital marketing to begin with and have been. It's kind of our DNA. And then two, now we have the data of 4,500 plus customers, so we know what works. We provide you with what are called playbooks, step-by-step audio video guides, tutorials on how to engage in all the various different aspects of running an art or photography business, how to have a live art show on Instagram, how to have a live art show on Instagram and Facebook at the same time, how to deal with the comments, how to deal with pricing, how to run a sale, how to approach Facebook ads, how to approach regular social posting. We give you a 365-day-a-year calendar, what you should be doing week in, week out. It comes in 3 flavors: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. You start at beginner, you master those, you move to intermediate, then you go up to advanced. You stay at that all year long, consistently, 52 weeks a year, 365 days a year. You can follow it verbatim. That's what we recommend. You can adjust it a little bit to taste, but it's there. And it walks you through absolutely everything that you should be doing all year long. Probably even more important than that is all the stuff that it tells you to ignore, right? We all fall victim to shiny object syndrome, don't we? Like, maybe I should go try this, or maybe I heard that Pinterest works, or maybe I should spend a bunch of time on SEO, or, TikTok. I just keep reading about TikTok. Maybe I should get on TikTok. We have the benefit of knowing what works. We've got 4,500 customers. If somebody is killing it with a new source, a new marketing channel, we'll find out about it before anyone else does, and we'll teach it to you. But in the short term, we stick to what we know works, and you ignore everything else as a result of that focus. And that's perhaps the most powerful part about it. In addition to the calendar, we split our entire customer base up into 3 tiers. And we run workshops, Zoom sessions like this, week in, week out, once a week, 52 weeks a year, 51 weeks a year. We're definitely taking off this week, or next week rather. If you haven't sold $2,000 on your website, you're in the beginner group. We call that traction, trying to get traction. Once you crossed over the $2,000 mark, we put you in the next group, which is called ramping. And then once you crossed over a much, much higher revenue threshold, we put you in the advanced group. Now, you can watch any of these sessions, but we really encourage, based on where you are, to attend the session that corresponds to you. We teach the playbooks. We go over the calendar, and then we open it up for Q&A and deal with your marketing questions live, face-to-face. And to be honest, it's the biggest game changer that's happened in our company, period. You look at all the stats for all the various digital education companies that are out there, Kajabi, Masterclass, Coursera, lynda.com, any of them, and about 30% of the people that buy those courses actually finish them. And learning in a vacuum, okay, without any real instructor, without any interaction, without being able to ask questions, without saying, hey, I got stuck on this, is just not an effective way that most people learn. And so you have to have live teaching, and that's what these Zoom sessions do. And they've been incredible. And not only do you get, live teaching, live one-on-one consulting, you get your questions answered, you also get to learn in a peer learning format, in which case there's hundreds of other artists and photographers, many who are struggling with the same stuff that you are, asking their questions their way. You get to see those answers, those responses. And then, we have people that are winning, and they come back and they talk about their wins. I just closed a deal with an interior designer for 35 pieces, a $12,000 order. Well, how did you do that? They explain their process. They explain the email language they used, or what Facebook post it was, or however they accomplished it. And so it's really proven to be a drastic game changer. And, everybody's on Zooms these days. Everybody knows how it works. Everybody understands this is the new norm that we're moving into. And so video is proving, a video session just like this is proving to be just one of the most efficient and effective ways to get better at marketing, to really do anything, but especially to get better at marketing, but definitely to sell art and photography too. So that's that product. We also have within this Art Business University a private Facebook group. It's highly curated. It has a number of our best customers in there. We have support agents in there. We have marketing agents in there, and you can come in and ask your questions there at any point in time. Collectively, we're sort of calling that the Art Business University, and it never stops. It never will stop. It never can stop. The digital landscape out there and how you market and grow an art or photography business, things are changing so quickly. The rules keep changing. Applications keep updating. They're constantly moving the goalposts. And unless you're moving with it and you have the most up-to-date information, it can be really daunting. So the continued education is it's becoming the secret sauce of what we do. I mean, I would say that almost exclusively. As a final, about 4 months ago, we started a complete in-house marketing agency, for lack of a better term. All it does all day long is it teaches artists, or it takes business from artists and photographers and helps them sell more art. And we believe already, even just 4 months in, that it's the biggest art and photography specific marketing agency in the world. And I don't even think that's hyperbole, because no one can even name me one. If anyone knows of a marketing agency that exists out there that focuses solely and exclusively on helping artists and photographers sell more of their products, let me know, because I'd love to check it out. But we serviced over, I think, 275 or 285 of our customers so far. We're handling things like, one, the website setup. So if you sign up and you're like, I don't want to build the website, I don't want to do any of it, will you just do all of it? Yes, we do that. You drop a bunch of images in a folder, you drop the descriptions, and then our team takes care of the whole rest of the thing. Tune up your Facebook page, tune up your Instagram account, run an entire sales campaign, run your Facebook ads, your Facebook warm ads, which we can get into later. We handle all of it, and we're continuing to add more and more services, and it's really been pretty amazing in the sense that, again, going back to our premise, why we exist is to create successful artists and photographers. So if that's the case, all I do straight up is make sure that that's the easiest thing possible. And the great thing about the agency is it doesn't even need to make $1. I don't care if that thing breaks even. I don't care if it loses money, because all it's doing is taking our customers, of which there's a standard 80-20. 20% of our customers are full-time artists and photographers. 80% still have day jobs. And a lot of times they just don't have the time to get these things done, right? Like, hey, I'm working a full-time job. I have a family. I have everything else going on. Can you just help me with this or this or this? And so there's recurring services in there. And then there's one-off services, like tune up my Instagram account, make sure I'm following best practices, and that it all looks proper, right? And it's become just an incredibly invaluable service for us as a business, because even if you don't ever use the agency, what I have now is a team of people. Let's use the Instagram example. I've got one guy that is just sprucing up artist Instagram profiles. He does like 50 a week. So if that's the case, imagine the learnings that he's getting from seeing all that and all the data. And what happens is that data gets built right back into the playbooks. Those learnings then get presented in the workshops that we have, and it's created a flywheel situation where we're just getting better and better and better at selling and marketing art. And it's now already, it's 4 months into it, it's already starting to inform what features we're adding to our web service, our web software. So really, it's been amazing. I'm very encouraged where it is so far. And we're almost to the point, or I think we have to the point, where we're going to start opening the agency to non-customers as well. So even if you're not an Art Storefront's customer, you can essentially sign up, look at the agency services, and potentially sign up. So we can talk about that a little bit more in the Q&A. I think that'd be a really enjoyable, fun thing to do, because sometimes I get it. You're entrenched with your current website, or you like what you have going on. Right. And you just need a little help with one area or another, or you're kicking the tires. You don't know if you like, or trust us, or any combination in between. And so the agency gives you a little bit of a taste on that. And so I think they have some sort of special that I can throw in on this. I got to go back and look at my notes, but I'll do that in a minute. But yeah, that's what I would say. I think, the biggest situation that we're in currently is the offline traditional ways of selling art and photography do not look to be coming back anytime soon. They just don't. So you have to have your own website. You need to be selling direct, and you need to be working on your marketing. And, maybe we're 12 months out or 24 months out from those old school revenue sources coming back, the galleries, the shows, the fairs, the in-person stuff. So it's sort of what you do in between now and then to best take advantage, of the facts on the ground, as it were. So I think that's it. That's what I've got in terms of my pitch. As we open it up for questions, we normally do like the raise hand thing, and I don't mean the raise hand thing literally. Although Alan's got his camera on, so Alan, if you've got a question, you can raise your hand, but otherwise I won't see it. But you can click in the participants window in the bottom of Zoom, and what that does is it gives you the ability to raise your hand. If you prefer to throw your question in the chat, we can definitely do that too. I can answer it there. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube and you have a question in that capacity, you can go ahead and do that as well. But I think, it's been literally a perfect storm, this Q4, especially for artists and photographers. And I mean, when I say the perfect storm, all the available sources to sell art, and i.e. buy art, i.e. fairs, shows, galleries, of which a tremendous art was sold, pretty much all went away. So that's number one. Number two, everybody started staying home as a result of COVID. So more time in the home, every home decor category exploding, right? Art, photography is one of those. Number three, you've got a situation where people are moving out of the cities to the country, work from home, and bigger places, more wall space. Home sales are exploding. The data on that is through the roof. Doesn't matter which home builder you look at. And so ultimately, what is the beachhead of art and photography? You need new white walls, right? It's either you're replacing something, or better still, new blank white walls. And so you have all of these things working in tandem at once. Yes, the traditional ways to buy art and photography are not where they were, right? Like where do you buy it? Yes, and I haven't even talked about like the increase in e-commerce adoption. I should rant about that for a second because I've got a good note on it. But e-commerce, and I'm gonna quote from a book. I got this guy that I follow that I love that writes about these topics. But how crazy is this? Just to listen to this. E-commerce began taking root in 2000. Since then, e-commerce share of retail has approximately grown 1% every year. Okay. At the beginning of 2020, this is before the pandemic hit, 16% of retail was transacted via digital channels. Okay. 8 weeks after the pandemic started, so 8 weeks after mid March, that number leapt from 16% to 27%. And it's not going back. It's not going back. So, in addition to all of those other things that we have working, you get e-commerce penetration that went from 16 to 27%. That's 10 years of growth essentially in 6 weeks. And now we're potentially going into various different states of lockdown 2.0. The penetration of e-commerce sales is never going to end. And so it also applies to art. More and more and more of it is going to be sold online. So if you're not in a position where you can sell direct, yes, the best way to sell art photography, of course, is in person, face to face. But you are geographically fixed on this earth, as am I. You, as I, need to sleep, and we're not capable of having 25 conversations at once. So you have to have a website. And given what's happening in the industry, sort of this perfect storm, all these things happening together, it just bodes incredibly well for art and photography sales. It's a windfall of sorts. Now, it doesn't mean it's easy. You definitely still have to do your marketing, but if you do, the upside is just phenomenal. Is just fantastic. So, yeah, that's what I'd say. The e-commerce growth is just insane. So Rich is asking, I have 30 to 40 pieces of finished art of various artists that I've paid $2,000 to $10,000 for. These are all national artists. Can I use your solution to sell off some of these since we have downsized our home and no place for all of this art? Yeah, you could, Rich, but I don't think you're just trying to sell through that inventory and then you're done, right? And then you're done. You don't want to have a business after the fact. So to market and drive eyeballs to all of that stuff. Yes, when you got some traffic there, our site would help you sell it. But if you've got 30 to 40 pieces and then the business is done, I don't think you'd want to go through the whole endeavor of building a site and setting it up and starting to market it, knowing that once the 30 to 40 pieces are done, they're done. So I would go other venues, trying to get an agent potentially, start writing it on your Instagram account. But I think it's the very good time to be selling those pieces because all the same rules apply, right? Like everybody's looking for art. Everybody's looking for art and photography. They're at home more. They're sprucing up their houses. They're sprucing up their home offices. They're moving to new houses. So it's a good time to attempt to sell all of that stuff. But I'm not sure that we're your solution to do that. we have a guy in this call, Wesley, who's in the same business as you are. You should contact Rich here, Wesley, and see if you can't sell this stuff for him. Susan, I'll get to your question in a second. First, I'm going to get Barbara. Go ahead, Barbara. I'll let you know when you get your. Yep, your mic's unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, I do live art shows where I'm not just showing my work, but I do live paintings
Mm-hmm.
and I take orders for pet portraits.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, Christmas was one of my most successful shows at the mall for Christmas shopping. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, that was when the COVID started,
Yeah.
so it's kind of my ending point when when Christmas was over. But can I do this similar thing? How would I do custom orders where people would send me photos and stuff like that?
Oh, it's easy. It's easy. I mean, our web software at the end of the day, yes, it's set up to sell art, but it also functions like a traditional e-commerce site. So whether you do a contact form or whether you have an actual item in a store for those custom orders, you would just do it that way. But it's very very easy to do. But let me ask you, Barbara, because that piqued my interest on in terms of the live painting and stuff that you're doing. Have you stopped doing that?
I have because I can't set up anywhere local without having to wear a mask or have some great crazy thing between me and the customers. And I
Mm-hmm.
used to do it like in the cafe in the mall and just around people. And it wasn't for the speed of it. It wasn't like characteristic or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about enjoying their lunch and watching the show. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We've got a gal that does it at weddings, and she's like a huge hit. I mean, again, same situation, right? Like not that many weddings to do it, but it's a pretty amazing thing. But you could do it. You could do it and subject matter aside, via live video. And I highly recommend you start experimenting with that. It would take some time. And I see your hand up, Joe. Don't worry, I'll call on you. But yeah, have you sold any art this whole season since COVID hit?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Mostly custom orders, portraits.
Mm-hmm.
I have sold a couple of paintings, but there were customers that saw it in the mall last year
Mm-hmm.
and have contacted me. So, yeah, I mean, anything else when it comes to live presentations and stuff like that, I've had to completely mute out because I'm actually going to the mall this week to take my work down because the store's closing.
Yeah, I know. It's so sad. Oh my gosh. Just quick tangent, but you're not hearing this in the media as much, and I'm not even sure why not. But let me just run through this. What do these companies all share in common? All bankrupt. Neiman Marcus, J. Crew, J.C. Penney, Brook Brothers, Hertz, which owns Dollar and Thrifty and Advantage, Lord and Taylor, True Religion, Lucky Brand Jeans, Ann Taylor, Lane Bryant, Men's Warehouse, John Varvatos, 24 Hour Fitness, Gold's Gym, GNC, Model Sporting Goods, XFL, Sur La Table, Dean and DeLuca, Chuck E. Cheese, La Pain Quotidienne, California Pizza Kitchen. I just
The list goes on. Yeah,
Oh,
those
I
are
mean, I just saw that list and I like put it in my notes because it's terrifying. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. Um,
yeah. I mean, I if I get a photo from a customer, when
mhm.
I go through the website you're talking about to get my photo, do I still need to go through email or text or how I normally do it, or you know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff I'm.
Yeah, for sure. We could help you out a bunch. What I'm going to do is April is going to put in the chat in case you want to check it out now. If not, it'll be in the show notes. But we have a gal artist. Her name's Allison Cantrell, and what she does is they're like hand charcoal of pets, and she's got a really robust business doing this. It's very impressive. I think you should check out her website and see how she does it. I would copy her verbatim. Um, she
Okay.
she opens up these sessions, and it's in the chat now. You can check it out. She opens up these sessions and on like a limited edition basis, and she sells out like the 40 or 50 or 60 spots like in one big weekend. Um, she's got a really interesting niche, and you can see how she uses the site to sort of merchandise things and articulate things. And I would copy her verbatim, but I can just tell you, Barbara, we can help you out incredibly. There's no two ways about it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. My pleasure. Okay. I see there's a bunch of questions in the chat, so I'll get to those. But Joe, I'm going to unmute you next. Go ahead, Joe. And you'll have to, in the bottom left-hand corner, Joe, there's like a little mic icon. You're going to need to hit that. I'll tell you when you get it. Bottom left-hand corner of the Zoom thing, it's like a little mic that says mute. Yep. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Thanks. I have two questions. First one is how are payments handled? Somebody buys something. How does the money flow?
So everyone sets up their own Stripe account. And the Stripe account is essentially a merchant account. It's like one of the biggest companies in the world. And an order comes in, and if you're the one to fulfill it, all the money goes to you, and you fulfill it. If it's an order that goes to the printer, you get paid, the printer gets paid, but it all goes directly to your bank account. We don't touch it at all.
Okay, so it all comes through that one source. Stripe account.
Yep, Stripe linked directly to whatever your business banking account is or whatever bank account you like.
The second question is, and the prior person who was selling their personal stuff hit on this. I am retired. I have several other artists who retired. Some of them one of them at least is nationally known. And are looking to still keep some life in the practice. Can we put a commune or a group site together?
Yep, you totally can. I mean, you're essentially turning yourself into an art gallery at that point, right?
Yes.
And I love it conceptually. What I don't love about it is, it's sort of like, having 8 partners in like a house or a boat, and then everyone wants to use it on the same weekend, right? And then somebody leaves it dirty, and you're like, this person sucks. And then somebody's not paying on time with their checks, and that whole type thing. So if you started the gallery, right, and you signed up, Joe, and you owned it, and everyone else paid you a little bit, what's going to end up happening is somebody's going to be driving a bunch of attention and eyeballs to the other artist disproportionately, right? And
Okay.
are they going to be upset about that? I don't know. So there's some pitfalls to it, but yes, you can absolutely do it. It's just essentially you're running an art gallery at that point, right? Because you're representing all those
Okay.
other artists as well. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Okay. Alan, you had a question. I might as well unmute you and then you can just ask it. I saw it in the chat. You'll have to hit the mic thing bottom left.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, gotcha.
Okay. My first question is, let's say you don't have a ready-made client list of your own.
hmm
What's the process of creating that at Art Storefronts?
Yeah, so in the beginning, you have a chicken and an egg situation, right? Like, you need to sell your art. In order to sell your art, you need attention, eyeballs, emails, social followers. But if you don't have any of those, how are you going to get it done, right? And so
Exactly.
we have some very hacky sort of how to get the ball rolling type of marketing techniques that we advise on that center around print giveaways and some other stuff that I can't get into, which helps gets the ball rolling. But you're going to have to just market and grow that business, right? And that's what we teach all year long. We teach you how to market and build a client list.
Where do those emails go to?
So you sign up with us, and our system is, kind of a central contact manager. But then we teach you how to integrate with what's called MailChimp. It's an email service provider. It's free to start out, and we just teach you to market regularly and grow a business like everyone else is doing digitally. And that's what you've got to do.
Is the process different if you have a ready-made list
No, it's not.
of your own?
No, it's not, because everyone has a list or they don't have a list, but what everyone has in common is they all want that list to be bigger, right? They want it to be bigger. You want to be able to sell to it in perpetuity, year after year after year after year after year, and you want to fill it up with as many collectors as possible. Collectors are people that'll buy in excess of 5 to 7 plus pieces of your art over their lifetime, and that's literally the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I found out yesterday, which I didn't know,
hmm
that the bronze platform does not allow the live preview and the wall preview, which I didn't know.
hmm
Which obviously that's disappointing, but it is what it is.
Yes.
My question is, does your experience show that does that matter terribly to the people who start off in bronze?
No, not in the slightest. See, a better way to state it is, I'm asking you to build a boat, right? And that's you running the art business. The biggest problem you have is getting the boat in the water and making sure it floats. Problem number 2 is figuring out what color you want to paint the side of the boat and what name you want to give it. That's sort of a bad analogy, but the larger point is your biggest problem coming out of the gates is marketing, not the advanced web features, right? You don't need that until later, and you can upgrade at any point in time. What you need to do is get in. You're starting from scratch. You have 0 people on a list that you can market to that are following your art, that know who you are, that are emotionally bonded to what you do, and you got to solve that problem first, right? Once you start having your traffic grow, you've been working at your marketing for a good period of time, then the web features become more and more and more important. But we're also living through like one of the greatest evolutions that's ever taken place, or disruptions, I would say, in terms of how things are bought and sold in art specifically. And so, for you early on, when you're just getting a business started, you want to focus on the things that don't scale, right? The things that you can't do when you have 10,000 customers coming at you. What you can do early on is anytime you have a qualified buyer, you can jump on a Zoom call with them and show them that art in person, get them to know you and have access to your time. And you don't need a website to do that in the slightest, right? Our websites will help you to a certain extent, but there's a bunch of things you can do early on that are more hand-to-hand combat related that'll get those sales over the line. After you build the momentum again, yes, then the features become more and more important, but it's not going to kill you in the short term in the slightest. The marketing is your biggest problem.
All right, one last question.
Please.
I've been on Fine Art America
Mm-hmm.
since 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you know, those are not my customers.
Yeah.
Those are Fine Art America's customers.
Yes.
I don't find them, they find me.
Yes.
So I don't know who they are.
Yes.
I have a Facebook account, an
Mm-hmm.
Instagram account,
Okay.
a Pinterest account.
Mm-hmm.
my question is, once I establish an art storefronts account,
Mhm.
is it a good idea to start new Facebook accounts?
No, 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 absolutely not. If you've got those pre-established accounts, then you're just going to start working on growing them, and we teach you how to do that. But
But
absolutely, do not start new ones.
but those Facebook accounts are going to show Fine Art America.
Yeah, you'll just change the link on that to your art storefront site. That's it. You don't want to send them to Fine Art America anyway. Like the only reason to be on Fine Art America is if it's actually generating sales for you. Like let
Well,
me
it
ask,
is.
like what did you
It
do?
is
What did you do in 2019 or this whole year on Fine Art America? Like
$3,200.
$3,200. So you keep that going. You don't stop, right? But
Oh, I'm definitely keeping it going.
yeah, yeah. But what you do is you look at that as okay, this is working. That's great. And that's way better than most people do on Fine Art America because there's so much stuff on there, right? Like you need to really have some circumstances going your way. In your case, probably being on that platform for as long as you have been. But you keep that going and you just say, okay, that's a train on its track of my business running over here. I'm starting the new one, the more important one, the one where I keep all of my customer data and I keep all of the revenue. And you start working and building that one. So you change all of those links in the social, and instead of sending them to Fine Art America, you send them to your website, which will convert better, by the way, than Fine Art America. And you start growing that list up. You look at what Fine Art America does and you say, hey, it's gravy. This is awesome. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to tend to it. It gives me some income. That's fantastic. But now I'm going to build my business that I own where I keep all the data and get going on that. And that's how you do it.
I'm sorry, one last
No,
question.
not at all. Go ahead.
Excuse my language.
No, not at all.
My Fine Art America account, I was really just throwing shit against the wall.
Of
I
course.
didn't really pay too much attention to it.
Of course.
And your agency services, what would the charges for that be to, take a look at it and say, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do?
Oh yeah, the consults are completely free, so you don't have to worry about anything like that. They have a whole range of everything. Probably right out of the gates, what I would consider is having them spruce up your Facebook, spruce up your Instagram profile. There's a number of best practices on there that most artists don't follow, and so you could find that hugely beneficial, and then you don't even have to worry about it. But from there, you're going to just get in and start attending the Zoom sessions on a weekly basis. Start doing the marketing. The marketing works 100% of the time. It's tried. You just have to do it consistently for a period of time. That's it, and then you can go. I mean,
Okay.
you'll start growing that business bit by bit by bit by bit. You retain all that customer information, and you're on to having something that can't be taken away from you, right? Like even with Fine Art America, the thing that sucks about it is, there's no guarantees to anything, right? Like you've been on that site for a long time. The fact you're selling $3,200 is fantastic, but what happens when their algorithm changes, or what happens when whatever item that you have that's selling is not on that good search results page anymore? It's like it could be yanked away from you, and there's not a doggone thing you can do about it. So it's why it makes so much sense to sell direct and work on growing a business where you actually own everything.
I don't disagree with you. That's why I'm doing this.
Yeah, yeah. We'll be able to help you out big time, and I wouldn't sweat the lack of features on those other two. Just get in, get started, get going on the marketing. It's going to be a process, but after you get the first year under your belt, you start picking up steam. What'll end up happening too is that the people that did find you on Fine Art America and they really like you, normally what happens there if they really like an artist is they'll instantaneously start following you on the socials, and then they'll see that you're having sales on the socials, and they'll see that they can go directly to your website and look at it. They'll potentially want to jump on a Zoom call and go over the art and talk about the pieces and what might look good in the house, and that's how you do it. That's how you do it. And
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I've got a bunch of questions in the chat. So Susan's asking, what if you don't currently sell prints? That's no problem at all. You can sell prints or not sell prints. I highly recommend that you do sell prints because an artist, a photographer needs as many revenue sources as possible. And you want to have different price point differentiation in your store, right? Like if you just sell originals and your originals start at $1,500 and they go up to 10,000, well, not everyone has $1,500 to spend. And so you add the prints to your store, and all of a sudden you have a completely different range of price points, starting at $250, going up to $750. And what you'll find is like every single solitary person, if they have an audience at all right now, everyone's tends up being a bell curve. Okay, it's just the way the world works. This part of the bell curve, people that have no money, they're not going to buy anything. But then you get the middle class, right? The lower, the middle, the upper, and then you get the high net worth people on the other end of the bell curve. Well, they all have their pricing sweet spots, right? And so when we talk about the merchandise, or when we talk about the prints, or we talk about limited editions and originals, you want to have price point variability in your store, right? Like, some people are really high net worth individuals. And so we tell people to price a piece outrageously sometimes. Like, if your top price point is $10,000, put something in there for $65,000. All it does is someone that's really high net worth that might come around might just buy that. And even if they never do, what it does is it makes all the rest of your work look much more affordable and a better bargain, right? Now, this is just standard sales pricing techniques that we teach you. But you want to have that variability, which is why the prints can be so important. And again, you can turn the prints on, run it for a couple of months, see how you feel about it. If you're over it, you can turn them right off, right? Like, it's a reversible decision. No problem at all. David's asking, what are the return policies if the customer is not happy with the product they're shipped? Number one, our printers are gigantic. And so when you're doing that clip of business, if anything happens, something gets damaged in shipping, something got busted up, it didn't end up on they'll just send another one. They don't even care. It's not even worth dealing with the customer service. They will just send another one instantaneously. And that's their cost of doing business, right? That's their cost of goods sold. Now, I can just tell you, seeing thousands and thousands of orders, it happens extremely infrequently. So very often, very, very infrequently is anything damaged. If it does, it gets replaced. What happens if they truly want to return it? Well, we give you boilerplate language that goes on the bottom of your footer, that you copy and paste. I don't even think you copy and paste. I think it's a one-click turn on, that gives you a return policy, that lets them know, that clearly explains and articulates what the situation is. But it just doesn't happen a whole heck of a lot. So yeah, that's what I'd say to that. Liliana Rodriguez asks, do you guys provide services and pricing your artwork? Yes, we do. We have recommended markups that we ask people to adhere to, and it's a very, very important part of our overall sales process. You know, one of the funny things is, there's only two companies I know of that are selling right now, that don't ever discount. It's Louis Vuitton and Tiffany's. I don't know of any other one that doesn't discount. Every single solitary other business out there discounts, right? They have sales. They have sales because sales provide the incentive to get human beings to take action. Artists need to do them as well. And so we set the markups strategically high enough such that you're able to have a sale and still be profitable. You're able to have those incentives to get human beings to take action and still be profitable. So yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah, Trisha says, I'm very glad to see products being offered now. Us too, right? Us too. And, you know, our job, again, is to offer as many of them as humanly possible. And we are going to add hundreds of them. Like, the sort of the abstraction and thought, the way that we look at it is, you guys are just creators. You have a talent with a lens, or you have a talent with your hands, and what you sell is those creations. So if we can give you the ability to offer various different products that your creations are on, why would we not do that? Why would you not offer that if you wanted to offer that? Now, I get some people are like, merch, this is so cheesy. Yeah, okay, fine, but you're still not looking at it correctly. Order today and I'll throw in a set of gift cards, right? Order today and I'll throw in a free tote pillow. Like, you don't have to have it offered in your store, but you might as well have it in your arsenal. Like, it's a phenomenal thing to do. I mean, that one guy that I showed you earlier is, you know, he's an artist. Okay. He's never had merch prior to us turning it on. And as a result of turning it on, okay. And this is a guy, I'm going to go to his page now. I got to move some things around so I can see. This is a guy that traditionally has painted rock stars. That's what he's done pretty much his entire career. Well, just recently, he decided to throw Santa Claus in for good measure. And he's a really talented artist. His originals are amazing. And he painted Santa Claus. 'Tis the season, right? He has been selling these throw pillows like crazy, and they're $40 a piece. And people are buying like 4 and 6 at a time because they're like, you know what? This is actually kind of a cool Christmas decoration. I'll take it out of my house one time a year. I'll throw it in the corner. And oh, by the way, it's $44. His originals start at like $2,500 and go up from there. And there's some people that follow him and love him, and they're saying, you know what? That's not a bad Christmas gift, right? And maybe as soon as the season's over, maybe he turns that one off, right? And it's not in his store anymore. But look what he did. He just added a couple $1,000s of revenue into his business. Just like that, just by turning it on. He didn't have to touch anything, go anywhere, or do anything. So the more we can do that, the better position that we're in, I think. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Okay, I'm going through the chat and then I'll get back to the hands in 1 second. Is that it? Yeah, so Christine's asking about frames, okay, and do you recommend selling framed or not framed art? Our sites, first of all, of course, you have the ability to sell frames, right? And of course, you have the, I don't know if he's got them turned on in his store, does he? I don't know if he does. He doesn't, so I'd have to find another one. I'm not going to do it now, but the deal on frames, we're very, very bullish, very, very pro having the ability to show the frames on your site, okay? Because it helps with the visualization process, and people want to be able to change the colors on frames and look at the different ones, and that removes some friction. But not anyone I know, unless it's an artist that says there's only one kind of frame that this thing comes with, use this one. Not any artist I know is selling, aside from one or two, a ton of framed work. The framing is something that everyone has tried to crack in the online capacity for a long, long time, and they've spent hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars trying to do it, and I haven't seen anybody crack it yet. The framing is just like a personalized thing, so we give you the ability to do it, of course, but I think the ability for people to visualize it is really important. But if you have 30 different frames in there and you're showing it digitally, like, it's very hard to get the value proposition that way. So it's a little bit harder, but you certainly have the option and you can certainly do it. So Barbara's saying, if I don't have the money to get started right now, do you have a payment plan or something like this? We do. We have the financing plan that you can take a look at. And when you request a demo, the outreach team will walk you through what that looks like and what the finer points are. Okay, Alex, you're up next. Go ahead, Alex. And then I'll get to you too, Wesley.
Hey man, thank you for hosting this and having me. So I have a lot of work that I built through the years, and I'm really just taking the business aspect of this a little more seriously. These, during COVID times.
Yep.
I am so my work specifically is scanography. So instead of taking a picture with a camera, it's with a scanner, a flatbed scanner.
Okay.
So it's kind of in between, like you're not actually painting obviously, but like the time it takes to take a million pictures and how to make and to make a painting, it's kind of in between that.
Okay.
So it takes a long time. I guess my question is, I'm really looking for direction on where to like take this whole thing. Like, should I sell it as original pieces because they do take a while to do, and like kind of a direction to take the whole brand? And I'm wondering if that is something that you guys can offer as well, like coaching almost.
Yeah, 100% on the coaching, but I can give you some of it right now for free. You have to sell the work. Is the work selling? Have you tried selling the work? Is it moving?
Yeah. So I've created postcards. I live in California, so I created postcards, and
Will the last one, Leaving Julian, please turn out the lights?
Oh, say that again.
Isn't that the Julian saying? Will the last one, Leaving Julian, please turn out the lights?
I've only lived here for 2 years, so I've never heard.
Have you not seen that on a T-shirt or a sweatshirt yet? That's like the Julian saying. Well, the last one, Leaving Julian. I only live in Orange County. I'm an hour north of you, so I know Julian.
Okay, sweet, nice.
Yeah.
So I've been doing postcards and then prints on canvases.
Okay.
And they both barely sold. I sold one in Temecula like last year, and then a couple of pieces hanging in town. So the postcards I've been selling mostly because I know a lot of locals that support me that way.
Yeah.
But the prints, I feel like I can blow them up real big because each file is about can go up to like a gigabyte each, so I can print them real big, and they're all nature based. Anyway, so I'm just looking at what direction I should take the whole thing. If I should sell them large quantities of one kind, or if I should really have them be very exclusive. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think early on you don't know what you don't know, right? Like, it's one of the great things of our websites is like it gives you the ability to have all of those product offerings in a store, right? And you don't know what you don't know, what's going to sell best, right? Like, to use Alan's analogy early on, it's very about just throwing a bunch of crap at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? Because you don't know what's going to sell until you just get out there and try and sell it, right? So in your case, I don't know if you have the means to sign up or not, but let's say you did, I would say don't stress about that. I want you to have these various different price points, these various different items in your store, and I want you to work on your marketing. What we're going to do is we're going to come back and have this conversation again in a year or 9 months after you've done the marketing, after you've got people following you, they're checking out your store, and let's see what's selling. And then we make course corrections from there, right? So the most important thing is just getting it to sell. And early on, you don't know what's going to sell best or not. So that's the game plan.
Okay, sounds good, man.
Yeah.
And I have consultation meeting with Brian at 1. So
very cool.
I'll probably be seeing you in a year.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's honestly though, that's the key. And it's like, I constantly quote this this Pablo Picasso. So there was like some sort of Hungarian photographer that was like an artist, and what's his name? Sorry, I'll pull up the name of the book here in just a second because it's so good. Like I love it, but it's the concept was, it was this guy, this Hungarian photographer who was also a writer, interviewing Picasso about his creative process, about how he built a business, about how everything went. And Picasso's constantly saying, like, early on, I did not get big prices. Okay, I got tiny prices, but guess what? My artwork got out into the world. Everything moved. He's like, your drawings have got to move. It's called Conversations with Picasso, Brassai and Picasso. Okay. And, you got to sell. You have to sell, right? Like what matters is that you sell a large number of them. And he said specifically, don't price them too high. What matters is that you sell a large number of them. Your drawings must go out into the world. And that's so true early on. You have to figure it out. And, again, you don't know what's going to sell early on. You don't know what you don't know. And number two, when Picasso died, he had 45,000 unsold works that his family had to squabble over. And a lot of those were duds. They didn't work, right? But he attempted to sell them. If it was just part of his learning process or it wasn't a piece that moved, he moved on to the next one, right? And that's how they got there. So you won't know until you get into your marketing, Alex, and that's what you got to do. You got to start in on it in earnest, get going, and build your own channel. The good news is, once you start correctly, by which I mean, let's contrast you to Alan, right? Let's say we rewind the clocks 10 years ago, 2009, Alan said he got on Fine Art America. What if in 2009 you started your own website and your own email list? Alan was on Fine Art America. He might have made more money than you year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4 even. But then at a point, you have 10,000 people on an email list. You're starting to get collectors. You're constantly trying your new styles. You're building a list that you own. And then boom, COVID hits. Guess what? You've got an email list. You can email those people as much as you want. You can market as much as you want, and you're rolling on the sales, right? So it's about setting yourself up with the right business model, understanding what that is, and then just moving into your marketing. But you're young and you're savvy with social media, so you're going to pick it up quicker than everyone else is. So I like your chances, is all I'm saying. All right, Wesley, you're up. Go ahead.
Hey, Patrick.
You explored, Wesley, you explored the agency, right? Somebody called you. Did you end up ordering anything, just out of curiosity?
Oh, no, nobody's called me. Well, maybe, did they send me email? I haven't kept up with my email, but yeah, I'm very interested in that whole concept.
Yeah, I told them to reach out to you though. I'll find out if they didn't, because we're definitely,
you're pushing that. I heard you say that again today.
Yeah, we're gonna start ramping it, and I mean, yeah. and you guys, Wesley's been on a bunch of these calls, so he knows our whole shtick and our whole program. But what I said earlier, like selfishly, the more marketing initiatives my team runs on artists and photographers, contemplate what that does to my learning. I get an unfair advantage. I'm stacking the deck in my favor, right? I'm improving our software, so it just makes a ton of sense for us. So we're pushing it.
Yeah, and of course I'm not the starving artist, so I'm kind of out of your original business model. I call myself the starving gallery owner.
Yep.
And so yeah, but so much of what you guys preach, it makes so much sense. Number one, and number two, I think applies to any effort to sell fine art, whether you're the creator of that fine art or the person who goes out and buys it on the resale market and tries to bring it together in a gallery like I do.
Yeah.
By the way, thank you for trying to throw me some inventory. Although with I can't remember his name now, Rich.
Yeah.
But I've taken your CEO's advice. Nick at the very beginning said, "Oh no, you got plenty in your inventory." I got about 70. I think I'm almost up to 80 now.
Yeah.
Items in my store, which is more than enough, right? Because and you keep saying it, and everybody needs to understand. They don't believe it already. I got a marketing problem. I don't have an inventory
Yep.
problem.
Yep.
I could take this entire inventory, dump it in an auction, and it would sell. I might get, in some cases, half of what I'm asking. Some cases, maybe get what I'm asking. Probably in some cases, I might even get more.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what I want to do. I want to follow your model and sell directly.
That's
and
right.
Now's the time to try to do it. So I hope you'll bear with me. I have 3 questions that all relate to something that I think people on this call might have the same issues with. One, and this goes back to something you mentioned. Are there people out there that are in the same game with you guys and trying to support starving artists or gallery owners who are trying to market directly? And sure enough, I'm on YouTube, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even watching videos. I think they have anything to do with fine art. And these guys are so clever. Of course, they found me, and they throw up this ad. This guy's talking about how much things have changed and how artists can market directly. And
Mm-hmm.
and the thing that caught my attention, I was about ready to move on with the ad, but he said that this is what I wanted to ask you about. He said that he could construct an ad on Facebook or Instagram where he could specifically target followers of Sotheby's. Now, that's people who actually buy art.
What's the guy's name? Out of curiosity, did you write it?
I can't remember his name, but I'll look it up because I'll probably see the ad. I think I've seen it a couple times.
Yeah,
and
we know who he is.
Is that BS? That's got to be BS, right? I know you can.
Yeah, no, you can target.
You can
target Wesley. You can target till you're blue in the face on Facebook. If it's the guy who I think it is, okay. He's on our email list, and he opens every single solitary one of our emails and clicks all over it. So he's constantly looking at our strategies. I've been targeted with his ads too. We were actually talking about him this week, believe it or not. But what you don't understand is, let's just say the Facebook targeting is one arrow. Okay, you've got that one arrow. That's fantastic. Target Sotheby's, amazing. A target Sotheby's, males 35 to 65. Throw in another angle of high net worth. Can you do that? Absolutely, you can do that. But it's still one arrow. It's still just one arrow, Wesley. And if you have just one arrow to fire and you're trying to hit the bullseye, I wish you luck. If you're Robin Hood, maybe you hit it. But it's not about one arrow. You have to fire a whole bunch of arrows, and then you have to fire a whole bunch of arrows consistently all year long. If you do that, then you put yourself in a position to actually grow the business. But just looking for that one arrow that's the kill shot, which, let's be honest, Wesley, you do this all the time, ain't going to get the job done. It just ain't going to get the job done, my friend.
Yeah, I hear you. But you think that if I did think that this arrow was important, I actually could be, I could have something.
I don't recommend anyone goes after cold advertising until they have a complete and comprehensive marketing system in place.
No, I know that. I was just struck by, I didn't think that was possible. So, I mean, this is another reason, people who get hit by these fine art marketers need to be careful, because I never heard any BS from you, Patrick. Whereas that's why I was asking about this. Is this just BS? And it's probably somebody everybody should steer clear of.
Yeah, right? I don't know. I mean, I think we're talking about the same person. You'll have to tell me on the next thing. Write down his name and see if it's the person in question. But whether it's the arrow analogy or my fishing analogy, which you've heard me say a bunch of times, Wesley, like you cannot get into advertising, okay, of any capacity without a fully developed marketing system in place. If you do, you are going into Vegas, or you are going to the horse track and placing a bet down. Okay, let me know how that works out, right?
Yeah.
You have to be growing your email list. You have to be emailing that email list. You have to be posting on the socials regularly. You have to be having a sale when the time is right. You have to be having live art shows. You do all of that and advertise, you stand a chance. You don't do all of that and just advertise, i.e. target Sotheby's, you are going to fail. You are going to light a bunch of money on fire.
Yeah, no, I've experienced exactly what you just described, Patrick. So I think you're right.
There's no silver bullets.
Question. This is a quick one.
Yep.
I can't believe you haven't been gleefully sharing this, although maybe I'm the only one trying to sell fine art on a Spotify, not a Spotify,
Shopify.
a Shopify store.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the big ad, big news about Shopify this week? I can't believe you would have missed it.
I doubt I missed it, but what was the big
New
news?
York Post. 1 in 5 Shopify stores reportedly pose a risk to shoppers. Apparently, the fraudsters, because Amazon did a good job of reining them in, have all flocked to Shopify. So the news is now, if you shop on Shopify, there's a 1 in 5 chance you're dealing with a fraudster. Now, I scroll down on my store page and I look at the bottom. What does it say? Now, maybe I'm overanalyzing this. That's what I wanted to ask you. Powered by Shopify. Now, you probably have a self-interest in answering this question, but I mean, is that, I mean, I need to get off Shopify now? Is Shopify going to do something to
No, you don't need to get
rectify this bad?
No, you don't need to get off Shopify. That's completely erroneous. 1 in 5 of the fraudsters. I seriously doubt that. I mean, notwithstanding the fact that I know the New York Post is a reputable publication, so I did not hear that. I'd have to.
Well, no, it's not just the New York Post. You know, they're the most dramatic. That's why I use their advertisement. Or not advertisement, their lead to their article.
No, you don't. You don't need to worry. You don't need to worry about that. You don't need to worry about that. No, you don't need to worry about that.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Yeah. Last question.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a playbook? And maybe this is the first thing I'm signing up for because I am confused about this. For dealing with what I'll call the comment culture. I don't know how else to describe it on Instagram and Facebook.
Yes, of course.
I've gotten a little bit into that, and I think I've done a couple of things that are missteps there.
Yep.
But I also see a big opportunity there, particularly when I comment on these accounts where, like one today, I was looking at had like 1.7 million followers. So every time they share something with me and I see something that I, maybe can come up with a decent comment about, it seems like that's a golden opportunity to market to, I don't know how many of those 1.7 will ever see my comment, but geez, if just 1,000 people saw it, 100 people saw it, and then click to my page and, who's this guy? What are they doing? It would seem like it would be worth it. Do you guys have a playbook on that?
We've got playbooks on comments across the board. The particular system that you're advocating for, we don't find to be high ROI in contrast to the other activities.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just haven't seen
return on investment. You think?
Yeah, the way that you're phrasing it, yes. I mean, I think if it's your posts and you're getting comments that are potential warm opportunities, different ballgame entirely. But I think you could find some situations where it helps and it could potentially lead to a sale here or there, but I don't find that to be high ROI. There's better uses of your marketing time.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Well, that's what
I asked. Thank you so much, Patrick. I appreciate your time as always.
Oh, that's my pleasure, Wesley. And don't worry, Shopify is a huge company, right? Like, are they technically a competitor? Yes, but case in point, you don't ever get any BS from me. I'm not sugarcoating anything. Shopify is the biggest freaking company in terms of market cap in the entire country of Canada. You got nothing to worry about there. Okay, but agency thing. What do I get to offer for the agency thing? And if anyone's interested in this, all they have to do is put their comment in the chat, and I'll have them email you. And the first person that does it is interested. But we're offering an Instagram growth bundle, the ultimate accelerant for your art business, which is pretty cool. And I think it's $1,000 value, and they're marking it off like $500 or something like that. I don't know. If you're interested in Instagram service from the agency, you can leave a comment in the chat, and we'll follow up with you. But yeah, you're fine on Shopify, Wesley. Don't worry. But other than that, guys, questions? Any other on the holiday festive week? Barbara's the only one with the camera on, so she's getting my ires. I'm staring at her. Any questions, Barbara? She's like, I don't know. Maybe. Okay, Alex. You're going to talk to Brian today, so you talk to Brian on the phone today. But if you sign up and you get it, you get the discount because you're first. Yeah, exciting times. One other thing I would say is that I run this show myself, sometimes the CEO, sometimes members of my marketing team, called Art Business Mornings. It's a live stream. It's really good. I recommend you check out the next 2 episodes. We've done a bunch of homework on them. It's sort of what what 2020 taught us, in the top 10 trends from 2020, and then what a properly set up business looks like in 2021. So totally free episodes. You know, you can just listen to them, but they'll be good no matter if you're signing up or not signing up. It'll be really good, up to date information. So awesome. I think we leave it there, guys. Thanks for attending. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you might celebrate. I hope you have wonderful times with your family, and we'll be back at it, I think, next week. So you can always attend another session. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Happy holidays, everybody.